This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Thursday, the 2nd day of August in the year 2018. Here's what we're tracking tonight. President David Granger today received the final report from the Lindo Creek Commission of Inquiry. The report calls for several officials of the former People's Progressive Party government to be questioned in a fresh probe into the 2008 massacre. While the Commission has recommended compensation for the family members of the 8 miners who were killed, Commission Chair Justice Donald Trotman told reporters that several officials who were not interviewed during the Commission of Inquiry should be interviewed in a new round of investigations.
The recommendations will involve, in that respect, reopening some parts of the investigation which had gone before the Commission was established, so that proper measures will be taken which had not been taken in the Commission's view into getting the truth of some of these allegations that were made, some of these actions that were done.
The report did not find anyone responsible for the murders, but Justice Trotman said it is important to question the officials to garner explanations in relation to their conduct and actions or their non-actions during the material times of 2008 and following. President David Granger accepted the report and indicated that his government is determined to ensure that the truth of the troubles are revealed.
I commit to lifting the veil of dissimulation and deception surrounding the deaths of so many Guyanese citizens. My government will spare no effort to expose the intellectual authors and the perpetrators of such deadly violence. The truth of the troubles must be determined in order to reinforce our regard for the sanctity of life, respect for the Constitution and law.
Some believe the murders were committed by the Fine Man gang, while others have claimed that the joint services were responsible. Those murdered and then burnt were Dax Orokiam, his brother Cedric, and workers Compton Spears, Horace Drakes, Clifton Wong, Lancelot Lee, Buddy Harry, and Nigel Torres. More news in a moment.
Summer is for selfies with lots of data from GTT. Activate a 3-day or more data plan to get up to 35% extra data and a chance to win big. LOL this summer with GTT, Guyana's #1 network.
Summer is for friends, weekly prizes, and super summer getaways from Caribbean Airlines. So top up $1,000 or more and get 25% bonus credit plus a chance to win big. LOL this summer with GTT, Guyana's #1 network.
As we return, let's tell the unit police investigators are probing the death of 46-year-old Gregory Wayne Frank, whose lifeless body was discovered this morning in the living room of his Kurukuru apartment. According to the police, the man's forehead appeared swollen and the back door of his apartment was found opened. The entire house was ransacked and several valuables that he was known to have in his possession have gone missing. The crime scene is still being processed and no arrests have been made. A 21-year-old man from Albert Street in the Queenston area remains in hospital this evening nursing a gunshot wound after he was shot by the police yesterday when he allegedly opened fire on police officers who were trailing a car he was traveling in. He has been identified as Jamal Guraya. According to the police, ranks from one of its mobile patrol at around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon noticed the suspicious movements of a motorcar in the city and followed the vehicle into the Princess Street area. It was at that point, according to the police, that 2 occupants exited with handguns and proceeded into a yard. 2 ranks went in pursuit of the men while the vehicle continued into Norton and Chapel Streets. And it was there that another armed man exited. He too was pursued by 2 other ranks, and in the process he discharged his weapon at the ranks, who returned fire from their service weapons and struck him in the upper left shoulder. A .357 revolver with 4 live rounds and 1 spent shell were retrieved from the 21-year-old suspect, while a search continued for the other 2 men. He is expected to face charges soon. Let's tell you now that 2 Guyana Defense Force Second Lieutenants Stefan Cameron and Tefron James have successfully completed the Chinese Air Force Basic Fighter Pilot and Officer Development course. With the completion of the 5-year program, the two have earned a bachelor's degree in aircraft systems and operations, a bachelor's degree in military science, aviation, flight and command, and a professional diploma. They recently returned to Guyana and are now back on full-time duty with the Guyana Defense Force. In a statement, the GDF explained that the two officers commenced studies back in September of 2013 at the Chinese Air Force Aviation University of the People's Liberation Army Air Force. The program of study was designed to develop young officers by imparting command knowledge and skills, and also to train the participants to be efficient pilots operating on the modern information-based systems. The Guyana Defense Force has offered congratulations to the two officers. And finally this evening, a 36-year-old boat captain, George Van Slightman, who allegedly used his speedboat to kill his father-in-law, was today charged and remanded to jail for murder. Van Slightman, who appeared before the chief magistrate, stood calmly as the charge was read to him. It is alleged that on the 28th of July, he murdered his father-in-law, Dennis Williams, at Canal Bank, Port Kaituma. The elderly man was paddling across the river heading back home after intervening in a row between the accused and his daughter when Van Slightman jumped into his engine boat and slammed into the small boat that the man was in, resulting in him being thrown overboard and submerged. Hours before the incident, the victim had crossed the river and stopped Van Slightman from beating his daughter. It is believed the man's intervention triggered the river rage. The accused has been remanded to jail until November. And that's your evening news bulletin for tonight. Gordon Mosley reporting for News Source.